Here at New Church Live as we launch out into another week. And today we're talking about is the gift of cheerfulness. And it was what got me thinking about this was you think about how much of the spiritual life is centered around this concept of joy. And the basic way to see that it's in our human proclivity to constantly have transactional views towards life. We believe that there's a transaction out there where I'll do 15 things or get 15 things or be 15 things and then I'll have joy. And from a spiritual perspective, I think what God is asking us is no, instead of thinking of 15 things to do and then having joy, think of joy and then taking that joy into 15 things. Slightly different approach. And cheerfulness is part of that. It was interesting yesterday out on a walk listening to a couple of psychiatrists talk, and they were talking about people and how life can work and when life gets troubled. And what they said is like they were talking about the power of cheerfulness. And again, these are PhDs, these are super bright people who know far more about psychology than I certainly do. Yeah, I mean, infinitely more almost. And yet they're saying like, yeah, it all comes down to cheerfulness, because who doesn't want to be around somebody who's cheerful? And I think, with things like cheerfulness, we always want to be aware of what are the headwaters. If you look at the way a river flows, right, there are certain headwaters, which is where the river gets started. And if we can keep on going upstream and try to figure out what are those moral virtues way upstream that will make a huge difference downstream, I think that we're well served by doing that. And again, it's not that it saves us from the white water or the rapids or anything like that, or the waterfalls or any of that stuff. It just puts us upstream so that we have this different kind of perspective on it all as we go through those rougher times of life. Cheerfulness is one of those things. So cheerfulness is that beautiful combination of coming kind of a loving thoughtfulness. Cheerful people, they just have a loving thoughtfulness about them. And we always want to have that word thoughtfulness sort of lingering around somewhere, because that's where wisdom comes in. So it's not just a Pollyannish, like a glib sort of cheerfulness. It's actually a cheerfulness that's able to really say and do the right things in the right way. But it's done with a sense of joy. And so thinking about that as being the headwaters. I know we live in an era, and I think this is really true, where we can sometimes approach things way too therapeutically. I remember listening to a podcast, and it was a guy, and he was raised by two marriage therapists. Both his parents were marriage therapists, and he said it was miserable, and or family therapist, sorry. And I would think that would be absolutely horrible to have two therapists just constantly like looking at the family, constantly evaluating everything. It would just be too much, because not everything is everything. Yeah, sometimes life is just life. And therapy can be incredibly important. I certainly use it on occasion, and certainly advise many people to use it. And it's never the answer to all things. If we think that life is always about this therapy, that kind of gets us away from the headwaters of cheerfulness, because we're always down here delving in the problem and delving in the issues and delving in the whys and wherefores. It's like we're just swimming in circles down here. But instead, think about going up to the headwaters. It doesn't mean not to find therapy if you need it. Again, I want to reiterate, I certainly do when I need it. It's about understanding that the most significant decisions we can make in life are the headwaters, and that's where God is really going to hang out a lot. God is always going to be calling us back to that. That's why I love Father Gregory Boyle's phrase, keeping first things recognizably first. To me, you could translate saying, yeah, keep the headwaters, just that simple. So, friends, as we go into this week, just think about the cheerfulness. Think about cheerfulness. Think about how it lends itself to a certain thoughtfulness. Try to live that out as best you can this week. Really thinking, what are the headwaters I'm going to be going at life with this week, and just watching how things can shift once we have those perspectives. So that is the thought for today. Hopefully, a cheerful thought, and may you have a cheerful week. So, what we're going to do now, as we always do in New Church Live, is we slow it way down. We do a little meditation, we do a little prayer, we do a little blessing, and then we say hello to folks on social media, specifically on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. A line from the Old Testament. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's do a little cheery hello here to folks on Facebook. So just give me a little second here to get onto our Facebook page. And again, I hope you're all having a wonderful week. I hope you had a wonderful weekend behind you and a wonderful week ahead of you coming up. That's for sure. Did that not stream onto Facebook? Just let me see here if we had some stream problems. No, we're good. All right. All right. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. And Linda, good morning to you. And great job, as always, Marcus, with the music on Sunday. That was really good stuff. And now flipping over onto my Facebook page. We'll see what people seems to see there. There's my buddy Jonathan from out in Pittsburgh. Great to see you this morning, buddy. And we will be out there in a couple of weeks, for a wedding out there, Western Pennsylvania. So looking forward to that. Anyways, friends, wishing you all the best. God bless. Have a great day, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.